and security, focus point 2019, according to the governing program as well. As far as the Coast Guard is concerned, the discussions with the Dutch Justice Chain regarding the relocation within the Ministry of Coast Guard employees. What we're doing there is that, of course, we have extended the career of the Coast Guard from 5 years to 7 years, and upon completion of the 7 years, they can matriculate into either customs, immigration, the police force, or any other of the branches of the the law enforcement, sorry. The strengthening relationship between the Coast Guard and, of course, the Ministry of Justice, provide information to the marine sector as well. And for the police is the continued cooperation amongst the customs and KPSM, recruit local police officers, ongoing, strengthening the police force with manpower, expertise, tools, and equipment, which we've been doing, implementation of a zero tolerance policy with regard to crime, realizing more blue on the street, better equipping district agents, community police officers, the completion and expansion of the CCTV project, the focus on cyber security, cyber crime prevention, the focus on reduction in the youth crime, and enhancement of the central dispatch operation. Safety and security for the customs is organized a more certified training, schedule EBT training every 3 months, increase random controls, enhance cooperation with the French counterpart as well. And for the national detectives, optimizing forensic digital investigation and also introduction of a tip line. For the Staff Bureau, again, information sessions concerning the Privacy Ordinance, GDPR, monitoring and evaluation of the YVO agreements, which will be held July 8th to the 10th, and that's when the 4 ministers of justice gather, and this year they will be gathering in St. Martin. As far as the Court of Guardianship, we're going to review the existing system and improve the services, training of staff in psychosocial support for children, develop and implement a child abuse reporting code, review of the minimum standards for alternative care, develop guidance programs for juvenile rehabilitation, preparation of a manual on the collection of alimony, and to set up the database regarding client information. For the prison, where the Ms. Lally Center also falls under it, we're finalizing those renovations, as well as the holding center in Simpson Bay, which is pretty much just the offices. Planning the building of the new detention center was already mentioned by the cabinet member, and will provide the skill training and psychological support for the prisoners. These were all mentioned earlier as well. For the immigration, it's integrating the joint and the BMS, which is the border management system, setting up the new website where foreigners can apply for permits online, and the website will be linked to join to monitor the workflow. The website immigration where intakers can apply for foreigners permit for public service in Phillipsburg or in Simpson Bay. This will also have a link to join to support the workflow. This again is an example of interministerial cooperation. The preparation of a new structure for immigration through the introduction of a front office, the intakers, back office advisors, and delivery. At the ministerial level, we're going to expand the courtroom facilities. That's why we're looking at a multifunctional building that we would like to develop in the future. And we have already engaged UNOPS to assist us with that as well. The strengthening of the leadership and management in the justice chain, and train and strengthen the HR management. Then we move over to the draft legislative products for 2019. I think, many times I ask about the legislation and the changes that we're making and the policies. This is an overview of what we're doing, from prison to the youth, to the psychological part of it, the rehabilitation part of it, the camera observation as well. The firearm permit is also being reviewed and expanded. The sexual intimidation, harassment is also being reviewed, and then also the policy and laws for reporting codes of child abuse, as well as laws for the minimum standards for alternative care is being reviewed. Now, when we look at this one, we can see what have actually been passed. There are 3 laws there regarding the MOT, and I again thank the members of Parliament for their assistance during that, as well as the LAR, which is the Administrative Rechtspraak. Those are the 4 laws that we have passed. Now, there are 3 laws at Parliament that need to be passed within this month or very early next month. Sorry for the recess, but these laws have a huge impact on our economy. This is, again, we do not have until November, so I must reiterate that, because they will be evaluating us before that. And I ask for your cooperation because we do not want to be listed negatively, and we have to pass these laws as soon as possible, and they must be given priority. Once those 3 are passed, we have 3 more that we are working on, which is the regulation of the commercial sex industry, changing of the names, and again, the firearms that was mentioned earlier. Safety and security before and after photos, we see the work that has been done at the prisons. My colleague from the cabinet already mentioned that one as well. When we look at the health and social well-being, the focus point for 2019 with the Coast Guard, a lot of it is related to the environment and licenses that they have to issue. With the prison, we like to implement agriculture programs at MLC as well as Point Blanche, and with the semi-private and NGO organizations to continue to subsidize them. This is a schematic breakdown of our budget. 36% of it goes to the police, 1% to the cabinet, less than 1% to the minister, the national detectives at 3%, our judicial department 2%, our immigration at 7%, our prison at 20%, customs 3%, court of guardianship 2%, the staff bureau at 2%, MOT at 1%, and then we have the overheidsinstellingen for 23%, which if we take out the 23% and we move it over to the next schematic circle, you'll see that 24% goes to the semi-private and NGOs organizations. Then we have 24% going to the public prosecutor's office, 6% to the PK, the prosecutor general, 17% to the Coast Guard, and then we have 29% for advice and other research.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Friday, when they had that type of session where they were going to give information, I was not on the island, but in any case, what has happened, I got the invitation and I thought it was giving a better understanding to people as to why they are moving the pension age from 62 to 65, because remember that the whole reform, the pension reform, was in Parliament and it was sent back to the drawing table by Parliament and said to APS, no, there are certain things that has to be guaranteed. There was a court case in Curacao that was won by head of the different departments at one time, and basically as unions we are also saying that all your build-up benefits of people that have been members of the fund before you have that reform, you have to put mechanism in place to guarantee their payout and to guarantee that they have their benefits are covered. And basically there was something in the new reform that would say that once you come over in a new pension fund, they would have given you like a 10%, and that would have covered. There are a number of civil servants also that looked at some of the packages, especially the one that would say if between 62 and 65 you decide that you still want to go on pension, then you would get a reduction. But a lot of our members are against that. So basically we are in the process via the CCSU, which was formerly the HOA. There's also a tragic where we should be meeting with the Prime Minister, because of course the pension reform have a deadline that has been set for this reform to take place. But we cannot accept reforms where you're going to throw out all, the baby with the bathwater and everything like that. And then it is actually under the disguise of we are making the fund sustainable, because we have to make sure that the fund can pay out people when they reach pension age. Now that part about they have to get an additional, that was always a discussion for people that can afford getting acquiring an additional, due to the fact that the hard reality is that as is right now, the pension fund, once you become pensionable age, do not guarantee you your full salary that you have been working. You get 70% of the last 3 years of salary. That is what you would receive. Now your bills normally don't go down. We don't have, like other countries, when people become seniors, there are a lot of different other senior benefits. We just started probably with a selected few persons at GEBE, for example, to get like senior benefits. But there are no senior benefits on the buses. There are no senior benefits in the supermarkets. There are no senior benefits at the rental areas, etc. So therefore, persons, when you get 70% of your last 3 years' salary, that already poses a financial strain to some persons. Now just imagine when they change the pay system from 70% of your last 3 to now to spread it out over your career, taking the mean or the average of what you have been making. It is, I can already, it sounds like that, but if you calculate it in dollars and cents, you can already see where then people at the end of the ride would end up with less than 70% of their last salary income. And then in addition to that, if you have a worker that is going to work longer, no COLA, their salary is frozen at the bottom of 20 steps. This is going to be a calamity on the stress for the workers that have put in an input and they are expecting a pension where they can continue to live when they are not to be in poverty, actually when they are on pension, that they can have something decent still to fall back on because of their contribution. And then all of these different things is putting us as a union in a position to say, wait, no, you have to have check and balance. If you are going to make the years, let's say to 65, take it a little longer to 65. And then in addition to that, you're going to do all these other measures and calling it a move of a reform to make sure that it is sustainable. But we as unions have to make sure that our members can also sustain themselves with the income that they're going to get after this reform have taken place. So right now, there is a whole development of re-evaluating what has been put on paper, because in addition, the unions were part of the work group. But guess what? Once the person that went ahead to write the law, which according to them is so complicated, but just like how you could write it in Dutch, I can read it, they have inserted certain things in that law that was not discussed with the unions, but in the media they are bringing out. For our members, the report or the unions were involved. The union was involved, yes, in the work group, and several things that we have discussed and agreed on were not inside, were not to be found back in the law, and things that we did not discuss was in there. And that is why the unions a couple of months ago, we held a joint meeting with our members at the John Lamini, where we call our members, and we also went to we invited members of Parliament to sessions where we could have expressed ourselves and also educate them on what is our grievances. So I am still waiting to hear the final outcome.
Hey ma, how you doing? You busy?
I hear, just paying some bills, taking care of business, you know what it is?
I know, you're doing your online banking.
I don't have to stand in those long lines to pay bills. I can transfer when I want. I can check my account wherever. It's like the bank open 24/7. I even here checking the statement right now as we're talking. How's Miami?
Well, that's why I'm calling. I'm finishing up a few songs now, but I'm afraid that studio time might be more than I And I was wondering if I could get some help with some funds, and I could pay you back as soon as I get back to St. Martin.
Let me check my account. How much you need?
I think 500 should be enough.
I can transfer it to you while online. Direct from me to you. No problem.
Great. Thank you so much, Ma. I'll get online with Viv now.
Alright, darling. You know who you're for?
I need to know who you're for.
Contact Wib today for your complete personal online banking experience. Available for all mobile devices. The Wynwood Islands Bank, now your online banking partner.
Talking about reparations for slavery, but we tend to forget what happened in slavery, because without talking about slavery, there's no reparation. And one of the things that we need to correct when it comes to emancipation is that we keep saying that St. Martin and the former Antilles, we all got emancipation at the same time, which is not true. The St. Martin actually got emancipation 15 years before the rest of the Antilles because of the French side having emancipation. So the slaves began to run over to the French side, and the governor at the time wrote a letter to the king suggesting that he abolish slavery. The king replied, no. The governor on his own accord decided, okay, end slavery. And he decided to call all slaves back over where the slaves were being paid. Okay, it might not have been much, but we are one of the first islands to ever do that. And this is what I believe that we need to learn. So as we are going forward, when we're saying repatriation, we need to learn about slavery, what happened, and how we got emancipated.
But let me add to this. I think you need to go a bit further. Yes, the slaves from the southern side came over to the northern side because of the fact that the northern side was emancipated. But that same phenomenon existed prior to the emancipation on the French side because of the fact that Anguilla was emancipated before we were. And it is a known fact that the slaves from the northern side went over to Anguilla, back and forth, actually. There's another point also that you need to take into consideration is that the plantations, quote, non-quote, because that's a big word, for what existed on the island. The plantations that you had on the island of St. Martin were all owned by British people. And the British were already in favor of the abolition of slavery. Because of the habeas corpus, and I'm not going to go into the details of things tonight, but they were already in favor of it. So the slaves that existed both on the northern side and the influence with what existed on the southern side, and because of the influence, of course, of what existed in Anguilla, made slavery a very particular, very special situation on this island. You can't compare what was happening here with what took place in the other islands of the Caribbean. And I think that from that particular standpoint, I would join you in saying, perhaps then we need to have a complete different approach to the whole concept of reparations. But I'll just leave that here for tonight. Since I have the mic, sorry. I just want to, I heard something just now, and I also heard something from the last speaker, which sort of caused me to think of something. You were talking about the status of a slave, what it meant to be a slave, right? And you explained how we were just too good. And I thought of something when you said that. And I wrote it down. I asked myself a question, and I'm just putting out the question very abruptly, very roughly to the audience. Not like it's a firm position of mine, but I'm thinking while I'm talking. Does that mean then that it would make more sense for us to ask, and it's in the, well, it's in light of the whole request for reparation. Should I therefore say that we should therefore ask for reparations as descendants of Africans and not as descendants of slaves. Because of the fact that it would mean that if I'm asking for reparation as a descendant of a slave was nothing. It was nothing. So, and I'm talking to the lawyer. Yeah? So if I go before a court and I'm asking for justice to be done to something that was nothing, then I'm wasting my time and my energy.
Not really. No. Not really, because the people that you are going to, which are the white men, I consider them to be in the physical flesh.
It's okay.
They have enslaved our ancestors.
No, I understand that.
And they are the ones that consider us to be less than human.
I understand all of that.
So the problem that we have is we do not have a seat at the United Nations.
Fine.
Because they who enslaved us, they will always be our speaker.
Sure.
Once we are free,
Right.
we are equal to them.
But when we become free, we do not become free to any to any body of laws. That's what I'm trying to say. And because what I'm trying to get at here is that our lives, even as free individuals, are subjected to regulations, rules, and laws. Yes or no? Yes. And when I appear before the court as a free individual, fully incapacitated, then I need to bring my plea with something that would substantiate it, or else I'm wasting my time and I'm wasting the court's time. So wait, don't run ahead of me, wait. So the point that I'm trying to make here this evening is, yes, I'm going to ask for reparations, but I have to ask for reparations as someone that has worth, not as nothing. If I ask for reparation as a descendant of a slave, then I am considered as asking for reparation as being nothing.